I am Vector Sigma. Before Cybertron was, I was. Who reactivates me? I, Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. Why are you here? To give life to these machines. He gave his life so we could have some jets? That's nuts! No, one Autobot gave his life so that 6 could be born. The kind of choice I hope they'll be able to make when the time is right.
DIECAST NORBZ is a channel devoted to the teen to adult toy collector, pop culture fans, and fellow nerd enthusiasts. This is a PG-13 channel. I might say viewer and parental discretion is advised. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of DIECAST NORBZ Galactic Hooligan! And it's been a long time since I've actually been able to put a video together. I'm sorry. I'm actually having like a lot of work-life conflicts and everything like that, but nevertheless, I'm actually going to keep on trying making videos and everything every so often. I've actually got like a lot of stuff on my plate, but that's not your thing or anything like that. This is actually something going on for this guy right over here. But I've gotten a bunch of bots from like the last couple of weeks and everything, and 2 of them happen to be these guys right over here. I am stoked for these guys. I've actually gotten these for my nephews, and I'm already loving exactly what these guys actually do. We have actually gotten Slingshot over here. Finally, a Slingshot that we don't have to go hunting all over the place for and everything, and he is just really spectacular of all things. And plus, not only that, but look at that, look at that. The window is back on the box and no carbon footprint, hopefully, you know what I mean? Like, I'm loving the fact that we actually have this though. That's great. No thievery here or anything like that. Nobody to take out the heads off these guys or anything. So, Hasbro, thank you for that. Hasbro or Takara, whoever actually made the decision and the higher ups, thank you for putting that back. And we also have Airraid here, who is looking spectacular. He was always one of my favorite Arielbots and everything, and I love the fact that he's actually back in grand style here. So that's actually really nice. Back of the boxes for these guys. I kind of wish that they actually included like actual bios for these guys all over again, but like they're great. And then you collect all 5, and then you can actually make something. You know, so like. Fantastic. I love these guys. Welcome to the show. This is a double review for these guys because I don't have all 5 yet or anything like that, but this is actually a good start. I love this so much so far. So let me take you into these guys. I love them. You'll get my full story. Welcome back to the show. If you haven't already, please hit the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure that you're actually following DIECAST NORBZ. Share me around to all your friends, family, enemies. You know, because like everybody's special in my eyes. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get over to the stage and check these guys out. Welcome back to the show. It is time finally for the power of the primes, and I am loving both Airraid and Slingshot over here. These guys are just super phenomenal at everything. I really love everything that's actually going on with these guys. They're phenomenal. These heads are actually really spectacular. They actually kind of like give out that toon aesthetic that I was actually looking for in the other versions of the Arielbots. And then finally, look at this guy. He looks great with his golden head and everything. I love that. The visors are super sharp on my copy over here. These guys are just so great. I love having him in the collection. Before I start going gone on these guys right over here, let's just take another look at the boxes here and everything, because like box art is a thing. I don't know. Do you guys actually feel the same? Like, do you guys actually really love seeing all the boxes and everything like that? I'm actually trying to do away with like some of my boxes right now. I'm not exactly sure how important that actually plays a piece in reviewing sometimes, but let me know down in the comments and everything. But there goes Slingshot right over there. That art is just really bananas. I love that so much. And then there goes his jet mode. I love that. That is just so cool and everything. These renderings are just amazing. Transformers written broadly right over here. And then we actually have the big guy himself, SUPERION. Look at how amazing that looks. It's great. And then we actually have this, since we're actually in the age of the primes here and everything, there goes Prima, and then Vector Prime, sorry about that. And we actually have Alpha Trion. How could I actually mistake Alpha Trion over here for anybody else? But like, those are actually great. And then there goes the back of the box right over here, and that's really so superb right there. Transforms in 17 steps, and then we're actually looking over here at Airraid, and I love the way that box actually looks right there. That is super, super great. And then there goes his jet mode right over there. Fantastic. You know, I've always been a bigger fan of him more than like most of the other Arielbots when I was actually a kid, you know. And then there goes SUPERION right on the back over here, and then there goes Airraid again. 17 steps all over again, and then there goes some more of our primes right there and everything, and that's great. I really cannot wait to see exactly how this Botanica looking character actually like gets put into this whole entire thing, but I'm loving this so far. And you know, we all love this guy right over here, right? This is actually going to be like the pinnacle of this whole entire thing right here, you know? I can't wait to see exactly what they actually do with this guy, you know? But there we go. And then let me just put the boxes right back over here and then bring our bots back in. Just let me adjust my camera, and then here we go. And then look at these guys. They're super phenomenal, super phenomenal. Now, guys and girls and everyone in between who is actually looking at these figures and everything and wanting me to downplay these guys altogether and everything, I am really super positive on these guys. They are so good, so good. And then, like, I know a lot of people are actually kind of like downplaying the Arielbots and everything like this, saying so much more could have actually been done. And, you know, that's kind of like the case with like most figures altogether and everything, but like, I really, really love the way these guys look. They really do give like a good like combination of like toyetic and anime qualities and everything like that, you know? The faces themselves actually give like such an anime quality to it and everything like that. Like, look at this guy. Like, the head profile is just amazing on this guy, you know? Elephant in the room is that what everybody's actually talking about, that space that's actually left here. I kind of like wish that they would have actually put in like another hinge over here to actually kind of like make a cupboard that could actually like cover that. In person, it's really not that bad or anything like that. I think I actually kind of like forgave it for everything else that he actually does really well, you know? Slingshot is actually one of these bots that I'm actually like really loving everything about. And we could actually also talk about the fact that the wings are actually down here instead of up here and everything, but it's one of these situations with look down here, not up here, you know what I mean? And like, it's really great. I like the way the cockpit is actually designed. Of course, it's actually gonna like look like the animation correct kind of like thing. And I love the fact that we actually have these things right over here. Anybody who's actually doing third party or prints or anything like that, of like, or 3D prints or anything, easily has access to this chest. So they can actually put the Rolls Royce thing right over there and everything, which I think would actually be like just fantastic. I kind of would like wish they put an Autobot symbol like right here on his arm and everything as per his animation model and everything. But aside from that, it's actually really great. Like, the legs are actually superb also and everything. One thing I love about this is that you could actually kind of like take the blasters if you actually really wanted to, and you can actually kind of like add them onto his arm Decepticon style or anything or whatever, you know, like if you actually wanted to like make him the seeker of the Autobots, you could. And like, also he actually has storage right down here as well, and you can actually kind of like put that right on his shins, which is not a bad look at all or anything like that. Let me just take this off altogether, and I'll just put this over here as well so you can actually see what I'm actually talking about. And there we go. That really isn't such a bad look altogether or anything like that. I really like that a lot, you know? His blasters are very, very nice. Look at that. It's got like double blasters and everything right there. Like, that's actually very cool. I think they're Blast Effects compatible. Had to stop the video for a second just to check, and no, kinda. Like, this is the way it works. Like, you actually still, it looks like they actually did model that piece right over there, but there is really, it's not really compatible with Blast Effects, but you can actually use Blast Effects on there if you actually really wanted to. Like, they actually give like a little bit of leeway and everything where you can actually plug the Blast Effects right here. So that's actually not too bad at all or anything. It's good. It's really good. I really love this figure. This figure is actually kind of like a really big surprise. I'll actually show you why in transformation in a little bit. Just let me put his blasters right back over here again, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of Airraid, but like very good indeed. His articulation is, you can actually kind of like go all 360 with his head and everything. He can actually look up, he can look down to an extreme measure and everything, so that's actually really nice. I think if you guys really wanted to, Hasbro, is there a Leader 1 lurking in here somewhere? Because like, I would love to see that, you know? We actually have a twist right over here on his waist, so that's actually really great. You can go circular motion with his upper arm right over here at the shoulder. You can go all the way out. You can actually, you have a little bit more leeway because of transformation and everything. So if you really wanted to use that for other things, you can. You have a 360 right over here on the bicep, a double bend right over here as due to transformation. Again, waist. You actually have like a kick out just like so and everything like that. Not a super high kick, but it's actually just doable right there. You can kick all the way back uninhibited and everything, so there you go. And you actually have a high van damage right there and everything that he can actually utilize to his extreme possibility. Like, it's great. And then you have a knee bend, you have thigh rotation, and then you actually have like an ankle tilt down, and I think you can actually, there you go, there goes the ankle tilt that I'm looking for. And all together, he is just really extraordinary. Let's take a look at Airraid, and let's just get this guy to stand up properly. There we go. And I'm super excited about this guy. This guy's actually very cool. And then Airraid over here is actually really nice as well and everything. You know, he actually has the F-14 or F-15 Eagle thing going for him and everything like that. If you really wanted to, you could actually leave his wings all the way to the back like that, or you can actually just make him like as Arielbot aesthetic as possible and everything like that. He can do that. It's actually really nice the way he actually does it. You actually have 360 right over here as well. And hold on, just let me take a look at the rest of this modeling and everything, because it's just very cool. I like this so much and everything, you know, like he's actually just kind of like a really great surprise and a good welcome to an old friend and everything, you know. I used to have this guy as a kid, and I used to love this guy a lot. Love how animation correct that is. You actually have the Autobot symbol right over here, some vents on the inside right over here, you know. So very cool. A little bit of painted detail right there as well. And there we go. Legs are looking fantastic there and everything. I like this a lot. And then we actually have an upper head motion right over here. You can actually look down, not to the extreme that Slingshot does, but he does look down a little bit. You have a 360 right over here. It's uninhibited if you move the wings out of the way, and you can actually kind of like go all the way out and everything like that, so that's great. These wings can actually peg right in here and everything. I'm pretty sure that that's actually going to be for our SUPERION mode, but also you can actually use it for this as well, so that's nice. We can actually go all the way out, an extreme T-pose actually, so that's actually really nice. You have 360 right over here on the rotation. On the upper arms, you actually have a 90, I'd say like a little bit over 90 degrees over here on his arms, so that's really nice. He can go in, his wrists go in and out due to transformation. So just let me show that off, and oh, there we go. Just let me move that out of the way because his blaster was in the way. So like, there he goes. And there we are. And his blasters are really nice too, but we'll get back into that also. You can go all the way out just like so and everything. So that's actually really nice. He actually can go all the way back. It's actually kind of inhibited due to the fact that his wing is actually right there in conjunction with the lower part of his legs. You have a 360 right on his thigh rotation. He actually has a 90-degree bend right over here at his knee. And you can actually have an ankle tilt going in and out and everything. And as far as the van damage that he can actually perform, he actually does it pretty well. It's actually really, really nice. Not as extreme as Slingshot over here, but really, really good. I like this a lot. And then let's check out his blaster. His blaster is actually very, very cool also. They're single barrel blasters, but very nicely modeled. And let's see if he actually does the thing. Yeah, there we go. Like, look, that's Blast Effects compatibility right there. So very, very cool. And both of them are just cool for just different reasons and everything. I love this a lot. These guys are just great, and they're just like such a welcome addition to the Superion team and everything. I'm waiting for Silverbolt. He was actually supposed to come over to me like a couple of weekends ago, but Amazon like clearly hates the Arielbots. I don't even know what actually happened there or anything like that, but they actually canceled the order like right before we were actually able to get them and everything, and I'm actually kind of sore about it still, but he will get over to me nonetheless. And there we are. There goes Slingshot and Airraid. Let's get into some comparisons. Also, just to backtrack for a second, if you wanted to like have some weapon storage for Airraid here, you can actually put his blasters right on his wings. He doesn't really put it on. He doesn't really have another port on his body where you can actually put the blasters. I was kind of hoping that you can actually put them into the legs themselves and everything, but no chance on that whatsoever. But he's still cool nonetheless. And as for comparisons, here's Slingshot and Airraid with Wasp, or Waspinator, and you saw that on the last thing that I actually did with Ultra Megatronus. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to go back and do a re-review on this guy or anything like that, but he is awesome. You should actually find that guy. The late Alpha Trion Blaster, the GOAT himself, Studio Series Optimus Prime, Menasor, so you can actually see how that kind of works out, and that's kind of interesting. I love the fact that like how sizable Menasor is compared to the combiner singular teams and everything like that, and like that is good for as far as like scale and everything like that. I love how that actually looks. And I will be doing a transformation, but I just kind of like thought that since my nephews actually left both their Arielbots here and everything, I just wanted to show you exactly how these guys actually compare to their jet modes and everything. And this is kind of like the odd timeout where I can actually do this, but there we go. And then that's actually very cool scaling and everything. You know, Slingshot looks great next to Slingshot and everything, and I love how they actually kind of like look together as far as like being like, as far as him actually being able to squash into this guy right over here. So that's actually really nice. And then let me show you Airraid over here, which is actually very cool also. You know, I love how these guys actually look. So let's get into transformation, and I'm going to show you exactly what these guys actually do as far as the transformation, and then we're going to comment about like the jet modes themselves. Let's get into it. Headshot! these Arielbots are super fantastic in their own rights. I think they're super great. I mean, they kind of like really match a lot with like both their animation and toyetic designs and everything. And I think they actually have like a really great compromise for both. So let's take a look at Slingshot right over here real fast, and I love how streamlined everything looks except for this piece that I'm actually trying to close. But I love how like streamlined this guy actually looks at everything all together. Underside is actually really nicely done, where you kind of like really don't really see like a whole lot of in the way of robot kibble unless you're actually really looking for it and everything. Like there goes this chest and everything. But is it really that much? This is really that unsightly and everything? Like that's actually really great. And if you actually put the landing gear right back up in here, just really nicely done. That's actually just a beautiful bot right there, you know? I love the fact that his legs actually kind of like become, but his feet actually become a part of the rear end of the jet and everything. So that's actually really nice. This cockpit is actually pretty big, but I'm really loving this design a lot more than I thought it was that I was actually going to. Slingshot really wasn't always my favorite or anything like that, but like I love the fact that I actually have him in hand finally. And on Airraid over here, just a really nicely done F-15. I love it. The one thing about it though, he actually really goes back into his toyeticness and everything like that. Kind of like looking more like our G1 versions of him actually did, you know? So there we go. The elephant in the room for this one right over here is that the landing gear is actually right in the chest and everything, which I don't really like as much or anything. I kind of wish there was like more room to work that out in here and everything. Kind of like maybe give like a compactable, like more kind of like a compactable kind of thing, but then it would actually kind of like look weird with this like long stem coming out from the front of the nose. So I get exactly why they actually did what they actually did here and everything. But otherwise than that, he's actually just very cool. Kind of like really reminiscent of like everything that G1 actually bought us with the plane on the top and the bot on the bottom and everything. So like that's actually very cool. I like it a lot. A lot more people are actually going to be pretty unforgiving for that one and everything like that, but I can't help but have fun with this guy. He's just very cool. We actually have thrusterants in the back right over there. And is that Blast Effects compatible too? Let's see. And let's see here. Let's plug this one in over here and this one in over here. And yes, they are Blast Effects compatible and everything, so that's actually really cool. My only complaint about that part is that I kind of wish they actually made the thrusters in the same color as they actually did with the rest of the jet and everything. But aside from that, it's actually really nice. It's actually pretty much like having an old friend in hand and everything, you know what I mean? The elephant in the room for this also is that the Autobot symbol that's actually right over here isn't on front, but I'm pretty sure like toy hack symbols will actually be able to play a part in that also and everything. And remember, whenever you're actually going into these guys and everything and you're looking for the weapons, make sure to open these baggies and everything like that, because that's where all the weapons will actually be for all these guys and everything. So like very nicely done and everything. I love the fact that we're actually still getting these all together. So very cool. I'm loving it. As far as vehicular size comparisons are actually concerned, I'm going to give you Shadow Strip right over here, and I'm also going to give you Dead End, G2 Dead End over here, and you're not going to see, like, I mean, it's kind of like comparisons between, like, the toyetic versions of these guys and everything. The jets are actually supposed to be much bigger than the automobiles and everything like that. But, like, you know, because we're dealing in the world of toys and everything like that, like, things are actually always going to be out of scale quite a bit because, you know, welcome to the quirky world of Transformers and everything like that, right? But, like, these guys just look great together. I love that a lot. And then let's go into Airraid and Dead End here. And they look great, you know, they're actually like ready to arch each other. I love these guys so much and everything like that. So there we go. These guys are fantastic. As far as these guys are actually concerned, the Arielbots are a go. I really think they're awesome. I think you'll absolutely love them when you actually get them in hand. Final thoughts are coming up. So I am really loving this new generation of figures here and everything with Age of the Primes. Also, one thing that I actually have to notice, and I have to make a remark about that, there is hardly even a loose joint over here whatsoever or anything. There's only one thing that I actually have to work on Slingshot over here, and with my nephew's version of this toy, not a thing was actually wrong with it. I don't want to swap parts out on him or anything like that, so I'm just going to leave his as is and everything. Mine can actually be worked on, but this is amazing to me. Not one shot, not one thing that I actually had to really fix or anything like that. Again, on Slingshot, just one little thing and everything, like one minor gripe. But aside from that, they are beautiful figures. If you get a chance to actually go off and find these guys and everything, I really highly recommend them and everything. Like, they are just great. I already played with the Red Alert version of the new Powers of the Prime toys and everything, and simple but effective. You know, I'm going to be doing a review on him pretty soon and everything. I don't think he's actually going to be my next review though. So these guys, go find them and get them as soon as you actually can. As always, I appreciate you all taking a trip with me through nerddom. I appreciate each and every single one of you that have actually joined me today and have kept me afloat, even though I'm actually kind of absent right now. I think you're awesome, I think you're awesome, and I think you're awesome, and you're awesome. Make sure that you're actually treating each other out there with love, kindness, respect. Make sure that goes all the way around the universe, back down here to HQ, where I can actually always use some of that positivity myself. And as always, when these stop being magical, that's when I'll stop collecting. I look forward to talking to each and every single one of you soon.